Layla Hayes stood at her apartment window, watching the city lights flicker in the growing darkness. 7 years had passed since the Battle of Proxima Centauri. 7 years since she had last seen those violet eyes. The memories should have faded by now, but they remained sharp, like freshly cut glass. She touched the small scar on her cheek, a reminder of that day. The screams, the smoke, the desperate rush to the last escape shuttle, and the alien girl hiding in the maintenance shaft, wounded and terrified. The doorbell rang, pulling Layla from her thoughts. She wasn't expecting anyone. Most of her friends knew better than to drop by without calling first. The habits of a soldier died hard, even 3 years after leaving active duty. When she opened the door, she found no one there. Only a small, metallic object on her doormat. It was about the size of her palm with intricate patterns etched into its surface. The patterns pulsed with a faint blue light. Layla's heart skipped a beat. She recognized those patterns. They matched the pendant she had given to Nixara before they parted ways. A pendant that had belonged to Layla's grandmother. She picked up the object carefully. It was warm to the touch, almost alive. As soon as her fingers closed around it, it began to glow brighter. A beam of light shot out, projecting a holographic message in the air. Coordinates to a location in the Nevada desert, followed by a single line of text in the flowing script of Nixara's people. The shadows have returned. I need you. Layla's military training kicked in immediately. She closed the door, checked that all her windows were secure, and then sat down at her kitchen table with the strange device. After all this time, she whispered, turning the object over in her hands. Why now? When she had smuggled Nixara to Earth, hiding her from authorities hunting for alien infiltrators, Layla had risked everything. Her career, her freedom, possibly, even her life. But something about those violet eyes filled with intelligence and fear had compelled her to act. They had traveled together for 3 months, keeping to remote areas, sleeping in abandoned buildings and forests. Layla had taught Nixara English and basic Earth customs. Nixara had shared stories of her world, a planet circling twin suns, where cities floated on the oceans, and music was made by capturing starlight in crystal tubes. Then Layla had found the Scientific Enclave, a secret group of researchers who believed in peaceful contact with alien civilizations. They had offered Nixara sanctuary and a chance to share her knowledge in exchange for protection. The last time Layla saw her, Nixara had pressed the pendant into her hand, the one Layla had given her for luck. Keep this, Nixara had said. One day, I will return for it. But she never did. Until now. Layla went to her closet and pulled out a metal box from the top shelf. Her fingers moved quickly as she entered the combination. Inside lay her service pistol, still clean and oiled despite years of disuse. Next to it was the translator device Nixara had given her, a slim band meant to be worn around the wrist. She slipped the band on, watching as it adjusted to fit her wrist perfectly. The technology of Nixara's people was unlike anything humans had developed. Organic and adaptable, almost alive. Layla packed a bag with essentials, clothes, food, water, first aid supplies. Old habits from her military days made the process quick and efficient. She checked her pistol, loaded it, and secured it in its holster. As she worked, her mind raced with questions. What were the shadows Nixara mentioned? Were they the same as the Voidborn, the enemy that had attacked Proxima Centauri? Why did Nixara need her specifically? And why did the thought of seeing those violet eyes again make her heart beat faster? Layla called her boss at the military training academy, where she now worked, claiming a family emergency. Then she booked a flight to Nevada for the next morning. That night, sleep eluded her. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the strange device glowing softly on her nightstand. The coordinates pointed to a remote area in the Nevada desert, miles from any town or major road, a perfect place for a secret meeting. Or a trap. But something in her gut told her this was really Nixara reaching out. The device was unmistakably of alien origin, and the message referred to their shared past in a way no one else could know. Morning came with a pale sun breaking through cloud cover. Layla dressed in practical clothes, sturdy boots, cargo pants, a lightweight jacket with plenty of pockets. She tucked the device and her pistol into inner pockets and headed for the airport. The flight to Nevada was uneventful. She rented a car at the airport, a sturdy SUV with four-wheel drive. The coordinates would take her deep into the desert, where roads were scarce and often poorly maintained. As she drove away from civilization, the landscape changed. Buildings gave way to scrubland, which in turn yielded to the stark beauty of the desert. Red rocks and sand stretched to the horizon under a vast blue sky. The heat was intense despite the car's air conditioning. Layla checked the device periodically. The pulsing light had grown stronger as she approached the coordinates, as if responding to proximity. The translator on her wrist occasionally flickered with strange symbols, trying to decode signals that human technology couldn't detect. After 3 hours of driving, including the last hour on increasingly rough terrain, Layla reached a point where even the SUV could go no further. A wall of red rock rose before her, riddled with narrow canyons. The coordinates pointed to a spot beyond this natural barrier. She parked the car in the shadow of an overhanging rock, grabbed her backpack, and continued on foot. The heat hit her like a physical force as soon as she stepped out of the air-conditioned vehicle. Sweat began to form immediately, and she took a long drink of water before starting her hike. The narrow canyon was cooler, shaded from the direct sun by high walls of red stone. Layla moved cautiously, alert for any sign of danger or surveillance. The device in her pocket grew warmer, its pulsing light now visible even through the fabric of her jacket. After 20 minutes of hiking, the canyon opened into a small, hidden valley. At its center stood what appeared to be an abandoned research facility. Low buildings of concrete and steel, their windows dark and empty. Solar panels on the roofs, many cracked or covered in dust. A tall fence surrounded the complex, but the gate hung open, swaying slightly in the hot desert breeze. Layla approached slowly, her hand resting on her pistol. Her military training screamed at her that this was a potential ambush site. Too enclosed, too many blind spots. But then she saw them, fresh scorch marks on the main building's entrance, boot prints in multiple patterns in the dust. And most, telling of all, the faint shimmer of an active cloaking field, the kind that could hide a spacecraft from Earth's primitive detection systems. "You came," said a voice behind her. Layla spun around, drawing her pistol in one smooth motion. Then she froze. Standing before her was Nixara, stepping out from behind a holographic veil. But not the frightened refugee Layla remembered. Nixara stood tall and confident, dressed in sleek armor that seemed to flow like liquid metal. Her violet skin now bore intricate tattoos that pulsed with the same energy as the device in Layla's pocket. And her eyes, still the same stunning, violet, held wisdom and power that took Layla's breath away. "You've changed," Layla said softly, lowering her weapon. "So have you," Nixara replied. Her voice was deeper than Layla remembered, more confident. She moved forward with a fluid grace that seemed almost unnatural. "The military made you a captain." "Colonel, actually," Layla corrected, holstering her weapon. "But I left active service 2 years ago. I train recruits now." She looked around at the abandoned facility. "What happened here? And why contact me after all this time?" Nixara's expression darkened. "The Voidborn have found Earth." The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Layla felt her stomach tighten. The Voidborn were the enemy that had destroyed Proxima Centauri, killing thousands of human colonists. If they had found Earth, this facility was one of our monitoring outposts, Nixara continued, gesturing to the buildings. "We have been watching for their scout ships. 3 days ago it was attacked. I am the only survivor." "We?" Layla asked. "There are more of your people on Earth?" "A small number. We have been working with certain humans who understand the threat." Nixara stepped closer. "The group that gave me sanctuary after we parted, they have grown, formed connections with similar organizations around your world." Layla nodded slowly. It made sense. Nixara's people, the Lisari, possessed technology far beyond human capabilities. Of course, some scientists would jump at the chance to study and learn from them. "Show me what happened," Layla said. Nixara led her inside the main building. The interior was dark, emergency lights casting red shadows across destroyed equipment and broken furniture. Signs of a fierce battle were everywhere. Bullet holes in the walls, strange burn marks that could only have come from energy weapons, dried blood of various colors on the floor. "We were monitoring unusual activity in the outer solar system," Nixara explained as they walked. "Signals that matched void-borne communication patterns. Then the attack came, fast and without warning. They knew exactly where to strike." They reached a reinforced door at the back of the building. Nixara placed her hand on a scanner hidden within the wall. Her tattoos glowed brighter for a moment, and the door slid open. Beyond lay a hidden chamber, untouched by the destruction outside, and in its center sat a small spacecraft, elegant and organic in design unlike anything humans had built. It reminded Layla of a giant seed pod, its surface smooth and iridescent, shifting colors as they approached. "This is my people's most advanced reconnaissance vessel," Nixara said. "With it we can track the void-borne fleet, but I cannot pilot it alone, and my people are too far to help." She turned to face Layla, her violet eyes intense. "The neural interface requires a symbiotic connection with two minds that share a strong bond. I need someone I trust completely." "And that's me?" Layla asked, surprised. "After 7 years?" Nixara's hand slipped into hers. The touch sent a strange tingling sensation up Layla's arm. Time means little when souls recognize each other across the stars. Layla looked down at their joined hands, her 5 fingers, entwined with Nixara's 4. So different, yet somehow fitting together perfectly. She felt something stir within her, a feeling she had buried 7 years ago when they parted. "How does this neural interface work?" she asked, her voice slightly unsteady. Nixara led her to the ship. As they approached, a section of the hull rippled and opened, revealing an interior space that seemed larger than the exterior dimensions should allow. 2 contoured seats faced a wall of what looked like living tissue, pulsing with light and energy. "The ship is partially organic," Nixara explained. "It forms a 3-way bond, you, me, and the vessel itself. We will see through its sensors, feel through its hull. It will respond to our thoughts and emotions." Layla hesitated. "Will it be safe for me? Human minds aren't designed for this kind of connection." "The ship will adapt to your neural patterns," Nixara assured her. "And I will be there to guide you. But I won't lie to you, Layla. The first connection can be overwhelming." Layla thought about what was at stake. If the Voidborn had truly found Earth, billions of lives were in danger. And despite the years apart, despite the differences between them, she did trust Nixara. There was a bond between them that defied explanation. "When do we leave?" she asked. Nixara smiled, her expression soft with gratitude. "As soon as you're ready. But first, there's something I must return to you." She reached inside a compartment in her armor and pulled out a small pendant, the one Layla had given her 7 years ago. It was a simple thing, a piece of amber, set in silver that had belonged to Layla's grandmother. "You kept it all this time?" Layla asked, touched. "It reminded me of you," Nixara said simply. She placed the pendant around Layla's neck. "Now are you ready to see the stars as few humans ever have?" Layla nodded and they took their places in the contoured seats. The moment she sat down, the seat seemed to mold itself to her body, embracing her like a second skin. The wall of living tissue before them pulsed faster, responding to their presence. "Clear your mind," Nixara instructed. "Focus on your breathing. The ship will do the rest." Tentacles of light extended from the wall, reaching toward them. Layla fought the instinct to pull away as they touched her temples, her wrists, the base of her skull. The light was warm, almost soothing, seeping through her skin and into her consciousness. Then the world exploded into sensation. Layla gasped as her awareness expanded beyond her body. She could feel the hull of the ship as if it were her own skin, sense the air currents outside, the gravitational pull of Earth below. And alongside her own consciousness, she felt Nixara's alien mind, vast, complex, beautiful in its differences, yet strangely familiar. Breathe. Nixara's voice came both through her ears and directly into her mind. Let the connection stabilize. Gradually, the overwhelming flood of sensations sorted themselves into comprehensible patterns. Layla could still feel her body sitting in the contoured seat, but she was also the ship and she was partially Nixara, the boundaries between them fluid and permeable. This is incredible, she whispered. Focus your thoughts, Nixara guided. Imagine us rising, breaking free of Earth's gravity. Layla did, and the ship responded instantly. There was no sense of acceleration, no roar of engines, just a smooth, effortless ascent. Through the ship's senses, she could see the Nevada desert falling away below them, the curvature of Earth becoming visible as they climbed higher. They won't detect us? She asked, thinking of Earth's defense systems. The ship's cloaking technology is beyond anything your people have developed, Nixara assured her. We are invisible to conventional sensors. They rose through the atmosphere and into the darkness of space. Earth hung below them, a fragile blue jewel in the cosmic void. Layla had seen it before, during her military service on orbital platforms, but never like this, through senses beyond human capability, with an expanded awareness that perceived the delicate balance of forces keeping her homeworld alive. Beautiful, isn't it? Nixara's thoughts mingled with hers. This is how my people see planets, living entities with their own rhythms and patterns, precious beyond measure. The Voidborn see it differently, she continued. And through their connection, Layla caught glimpses of another perspective. Earth as resources to be harvested, territory to be claimed, a strategic position in an expanding empire. Why do they want our world? Layla asked. There must be countless planets without intelligent life. Through their mental link, Nixara showed her the truth. The Voidborn weren't a separate species, but a breakaway faction of Nixara's own people, the Lusari. Generations ago, they had rejected the Lusari philosophy of harmony with other species, choosing instead a path of conquest and domination. They believe it is their destiny to rule, Nixara explained. And Earth has two things they desire: abundant resources and a strategic position at the edge of what your people call the Orion Arm. From here, they could expand their empire in multiple directions. The ship accelerated, moving beyond Earth's orbit and toward the asteroid belt. Through the enhanced senses of the neural link, Layla could perceive the vast emptiness between planets, punctuated by the silent dance of asteroids and the distant burn of the sun. The Battle of Proxima Centauri wasn't random, Nixara continued. It was the first step in a calculated invasion plan targeting humanity. My people believed the Voidborn had been contained, but they've been gathering strength, building a new armada in the shadows of gas giants where our sensors couldn't detect them. As they approached the asteroid belt, Nixara guided the ship into a complex, evasive pattern, weaving between floating rocks with impossible precision. The neural link made it feel like a dance, the three of them, Layla, Nixara, and the ship, moving as one entity through space. We're picking up energy signatures ahead, Nixara said, focusing their shared awareness on a point near Jupiter's orbit. Voidborn technology. Through the ship's enhanced sensors, Layla saw it. A massive vessel, sleek and predatory, bristling with weapons that could devastate Earth's defenses. It moved slowly, scanning the space around it, hunting. A scout ship, Nixara confirmed, searching for signs of resistance. Where there's one, there will be more. What's the plan? Layla asked, military training kicking in despite the strangeness of their situation. We need to disable it without destroying it, Nixara replied. If we can access their navigation data, we'll find the main fleet. They raced back to Earth, the living ship responding to their shared urgency. Through their neural connection, Layla could feel Nixara's fear, not for herself, but for Earth and its people. It mirrored Layla's own concern for her homeworld. Will Earth's defenses stand a chance against them? Layla asked as the blue planet grew larger in their shared vision. Nixara's thoughts were somber. Not as they are now. The Voidborn technology is too advanced, but if we can share what we know, adapt some of my people's defensive systems to work with yours. She didn't need to finish the thought. Their merged consciousness showed the possibilities. Earth's orbital platforms retrofitted with Lissari, shielding ground-based weapons modified to counter Voidborn attack patterns. A slim chance, but better than none. As they approached Earth orbit, Layla sent a priority communication to United Earth Defense Force headquarters using her old military authorization codes. This is Colonel Layla Hayes requesting immediate meeting with Admiral Kate Morgan. Priority Alpha, this is not a drill. There was a long pause before the response came. Authentication confirmed, Colonel Hayes. Admiral Morgan will see you at 800 hours. Standard security protocols apply. That means no alien visitors, Layla explained to Nixara. Earth has strict policies about extraterrestrial contact. I am well aware of your planet's xenophobia, Nixara replied dryly. It is why my people have remained hidden all these years. They landed the ship in a remote area outside Washington, D.C., cloaking field active to avoid detection. The process of disconnecting from the neural interface was almost painful, like losing parts of herself. Layla gasped as her consciousness contracted back into her human body, the expanded awareness fading. The first separation is always difficult, Nixara said, helping her stand on shaky legs. Your mind will adjust? Layla checked her watch. 5 hours until the meeting with Admiral Morgan. We need evidence they can't ignore. Can you transfer the data we found to a format their computers can read? Nixara nodded. I can create a data crystal that will interface with your primitive systems. She paused, looking troubled. But Layla, you should know. You're military. Leaders may not welcome this warning. Fear makes humans unpredictable. Morgan knows me, Layla said with more confidence than she felt. She'll listen. They spent the next hours preparing. Nixara created the data crystal, a small translucent object that pulsed with stored information. Layla outlined their presentation, focusing on the immediate threat rather than the larger implications of alien contact. Remember, Layla cautioned as they prepared to leave the ship. Let me do most of the talking. Earth's military has protocols for first contact situations, and they don't involve immediate trust. Nixara touched the pendant around Layla's neck, her four-fingered hand lingering there for a moment. I trust you to speak for both of us. The UEDF headquarters was a massive complex of buildings in Northern Virginia, surrounded by layers of security. Layla approached the main gate alone, Nixara hidden nearby, watching through their residual mental connection. The guards recognized her. Colonel Hayes was something of a legend in the service, her actions during the Battle of Proxima Centauri, taught in military academies. They waved her through with respectful nods. Admiral Kate Morgan was waiting in her office, a spacious room with windows overlooking the complex. She was a tall woman with silver hair cut in a severe style, her uniform impeccable. She had been Layla's commanding officer years ago, and there was genuine warmth in her smile as Layla entered. Hayes, she said, standing to shake Layla's hand. 3 years since you left us and suddenly you're calling emergency meetings. Should I be worried? Yes, Admiral, Layla said bluntly. You should be very worried. She laid out what they had discovered. The Voidborn fleet hiding in Saturn's shadow, the imminent invasion, the technology gap that made Earth's defenses inadequate. She presented the data crystal, which projected holographic images of the enemy fleet when plugged into Morgan's computer. This is troubling, Morgan admitted, studying the projections. But Hayes, how did you come by this intelligence? You're a training officer now, not field ops. Layla took a deep breath. I had help, Admiral, from someone who knows the enemy better than any human could. She activated the communicator Nixara had given her. Minutes later, the door to Morgan's office opened and Nixara walked in, her alien appearance impossible to hide or explain away. Morgan's hand went instinctively to her sidearm. What the hell is this, Hayes? This is Nexara, Layla said calmly, stepping between them. She's a Lysari, and she's been working to protect Earth from the Voidborn for years. She's the one who gathered this intelligence at great personal risk. What followed was a tense hour of explanations and questions. Morgan was skeptical, then angry, then deeply concerned as the reality of the situation sank in. "Let me get this straight," she said finally. "You're telling me that not only do we have an alien invasion fleet on our doorstep, but we've also had aliens living among us for years without official knowledge." "A small number," Nixara confirmed. "We came seeking refuge and to warn your people about the Voidborn threat." Morgan pinched the bridge of her nose. "I need to brief the Security Council immediately. This goes beyond military response. It's a global situation." She looked at Nixara. "No offense, but your presence is going to cause panic if not handled properly." "I understand," Nixara said. "My concern is stopping the Voidborn. How I am perceived by your people is secondary." Morgan made a series of calls, setting in motion the complex machinery of Earth's defense establishment. Within hours, they were in a secure briefing room deep beneath the Pentagon, facing a mixed group of military leaders and civilian officials. The reception was mixed. Some, like General Wilson of the Space Force, saw the tactical value of Nixara's information immediately. Others, particularly Secretary Blake from the Department of Extraterrestrial Containment, were openly hostile. For all we know, she could be leading the invasion force herself, Blake argued during a heated exchange. "We only have her word that these Voidborn even exist." "I've seen their fleet with my own eyes," Layla countered. "Through our neural link, I've experienced Nixara's memories of what they did to her homeworld." "Neural link?" Blake's voice dripped with suspicion. "You've allowed an alien entity access to your mind, Colonel? Your judgment is compromised." Before Layla could respond, Nixara stepped forward. "I understand your distrust," she said, her voice calm. "It is natural to fear what is different, but the Voidborn will not be delayed by your politics. They will arrive in less than 60 hours, and they will show no mercy." She turned to General Wilson. "I offer a solution. My ship carries defensive technology that could be adapted to your orbital platforms. I will surrender this technology to Earth as a show of good faith." The room fell silent. The implications were enormous. Alien technology freely given could advance Earth's capabilities by decades, possibly centuries. "Such technology is sacred to my people," Nixara continued. "But if Earth falls, there will be no safe haven left for anyone. The Voidborn will use your world as a staging ground to launch attacks across this entire sector." After much debate, a compromise was reached. Nixara would provide technical specifications for defensive upgrades, under strict supervision. Earth scientists would work to integrate the alien technology into the existing defense grid. Meanwhile, the Space Force would deploy its fleet in defensive positions, ready for the coming attack. As they left the Pentagon hours later, Layla could feel the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "If you give them your ship's weapons, your people might consider you a traitor," she warned Nixara privately. Nixara's expression was resolute. "Some prices must be paid for the greater good. My people will understand, eventually." They were given quarters at a secure military facility, ostensibly for their protection but clearly also to keep them under observation. The room was comfortable but sterile, with obvious surveillance equipment that neither of them commented on. "Will it be enough?" Layla asked as they sat together that evening, reviewing the adaptation plans Earth scientists had begun developing. "Can Earth's technology be upgraded in time?" "It will be close," Nixara admitted. "Your scientists are clever, but they are working with concepts beyond their experience. Even with my guidance, there are limits to what can be accomplished in such a short time." She looked troubled, her violet eyes distant. "There is something else. Something I haven't shared with your military leaders yet." Layla felt a chill. "What is it?" "The Voidborn don't just attack from space," Nixara explained. "They send infiltrators ahead, operatives who look like us, who can pass for Lysari among humans who have limited experience with our kind." Sleeper agents? Layla asked, her military mind immediately grasping the implications. Yes. They could already be on Earth, gathering intelligence, preparing for the invasion. Nixara's hand found Layla's, their fingers intertwining. We need to be vigilant. Not everyone who appears to be an ally will be. The next morning brought troubling news. Earth scientists working on the defense upgrades had made a disturbing discovery. The DNA samples Nixara had provided for verification matched genetic material recovered from infiltrators who had sabotaged 3 major Earth defense installations over the past year. Breaking into a high-security military facility should have been impossible, even for someone with Layla's training and clearance. But she had advantages the security planners hadn't considered. Residual access to Nixara's thoughts through their neural link and a deep knowledge of UEDF protocols from her years of service. The holding facility was 3 levels underground, with biometric scanners at every checkpoint. Layla used a combination of her legitimate credentials and carefully timed movements to avoid the most sensitive security measures. Where technology failed, human nature helped. Guards who recognized Colonel Hayes, hero of Proxima Centauri, were less likely to question her presence. She found Nixara in a reinforced cell, sitting cross-legged on the floor in what appeared to be a meditative state. The violet tattoos on her skin pulsed with subtle energy. I knew you would come, Nixara said without opening her eyes. We don't have much time, Layla replied, overriding the cell's security with an emergency code. The Voidborn fleet will reach Earth orbit in less than 10 hours and the defense grid upgrades are behind schedule. Nixara rose gracefully to her feet. Then we must hurry. They moved through the facility's corridors, avoiding patrols when possible and bluffing their way past when necessary. Layla had planned their escape route carefully, using service tunnels and maintenance shafts to reach the surface. Where are we going? Nixara asked as they emerged into the cool night air, alarms beginning to sound behind them. Back to your ship, Layla said. It's our only chance now. Earth's defenses won't be ready in time. They commandeered a military vehicle from the parking area, Layla using her authorization codes one last time before they would inevitably be revoked. As they sped away from the facility, Layla's communicator buzzed with an incoming message. Admiral, Morgan's voice was tight with anger and disappointment. What the hell are you doing, Hayes? You've just thrown away your career and possibly your freedom. I'm trying to save our planet, Admiral, Layla replied. The Voidborn will be here in hours and we're not ready. By breaking out an alien prisoner? How does that help Earth? She's not the enemy. You know that, or you wouldn't have supported the defense upgrades. Layla glanced at Nixara, who was monitoring the skies with a small device from her armor. We have a plan, but I can't explain it now. Whatever you're planning, it better work, Morgan said after a pause. Because if you're wrong about her, Hayes, you've doomed us all. And if I'm right, Layla whispered as the connection ended, I just gave us our only chance. They reached the hidden ship just as dawn was breaking. The cloaking field had held, keeping it safe from human detection during their absence. As they approached, the hull rippled and opened, welcoming them back. What is your plan? Layla asked as they settled into the neural interface chairs. How can one ship make a difference against an invasion fleet? Not the ship itself, Nixara explained, but what it carries. The neural tentacles extended, reconnecting them to the ship and to each other. The core of this vessel contains a fragment of the collective consciousness of the Laceri people. It's how we maintain our connection across vast distances of space. Through their mental link, she showed Layla her plan, a desperate gambit involving the ship's core. If they could amplify its resonance signal and broadcast it directly into the Voidborn fleet, they might reawaken the dormant connection to their original species. The Voidborn severed their connection to our collective consciousness generations ago, Nixara explained. It's what allowed them to turn against other species without feeling empathic feedback, but the potential for reconnection remains dormant in their genetic code. And you think this will stop them? Layla asked, understanding the theory but skeptical of its practical application. Not instantly, but it will create confusion, doubt. It might give Earth's forces the opening they need. Nixara's thoughts were tinged with uncertainty. It's never been attempted on this scale before. The plan was risky. It required placing their ship at the center of the Voidborn fleet and channeling more energy than the vessel was designed to handle. The backlash could kill them both. Then we better get moving, Layla said, pushing aside her doubts. They'll be here soon. The ship rose smoothly into the atmosphere, accelerating toward orbit. Through their shared consciousness, they could see Earth's defenses mobilizing, spacecraft taking position, orbital platforms powering up their newly upgraded shields, ground-based weapons aiming skyward. Too few, too late. But they would fight regardless. As they cleared the atmosphere, long-range sensors detected the first signs of the Voidborn fleet emerging from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. 50 massive warships against Earth's hastily upgraded defenses. From their position hidden in Mars' orbit, Layla and Nixara watched with dread as the enemy fleet formed up, preparing for the assault on Earth. Even with the upgrades, Earth's defenses won't hold for long, Nixara said, her thoughts echoing in their shared consciousness. We need to implement our plan now. They set course for the center of the approaching fleet, the ship's cloaking technology keeping them hidden from Voidborn sensors. As they drew closer, Layla could feel Nixara preparing the core, channeling energy through her own body in a way that seemed painful. Are you all right? Layla asked, concerned by the strain she could feel through their connection. The process requires a conduit, Nixara explained. I am the only Lasari present, so I must serve as that conduit. It is taxing, but necessary. Through their neural link, Layla experienced flashes of Nixara's entire life, her childhood on a world with twin suns, her training as a cultural preservation specialist, her horror at discovering the Voidborn's plans, and finally, the moment she first saw Layla in that burning station, recognizing something kindred in a completely different species. You knew even then, Layla realized. You felt a connection to me. Yes, Nixara admitted. It's rare, but sometimes souls recognize each other across the boundaries of species. The Lysari have a word for it, thyarin, the reunion of spirits that have known each other before. The Voidborn fleet loomed larger, the massive ships beginning their attack run toward Earth. In the distance, Earth's defenses opened fire, energy weapons and missiles streaking across the void. Some found their marks, exploding against Voidborn shields, but the enemy vessels pressed on, barely slowed. We're out of time, Nixara said. We must act now. They navigated through the chaos of battle, their small ship appearing insignificant among the massive Voidborn vessels. When they reached the center of the fleet, Nixara activated the resonance core. Pain seared through their joined consciousness as the ship channeled energy beyond its limits. The core glowed with blinding intensity, the neural connection straining under the pressure. Layla felt as if her mind was being torn apart and reconstructed, memories and sensations flooding through her in overwhelming waves. Hold on, Nixara's voice came through the maelstrom of their shared consciousness. Focus on me, on us. The connection between us will anchor the resonance. Layla concentrated on that bond, on the strange but undeniable connection that had drawn them together across light years and years of separation. She felt Nixara doing the same, their minds spiraling around each other in a dance of mutual support. The resonance wave expanded outward, and for a terrible moment, nothing happened. The Voidborn ships continued their advance, weapons firing, Earth's defenses crumbling under the assault. Then one by one, the Voidborn vessels began to power down their weapons. Confusion spread across the enemy fleet as long-suppressed connections to the Lysari consciousness reactivated, bringing with them the full emotional weight of the atrocities the Voidborn had committed. Through the neural link, Layla could feel echoes of what was happening on those ships. The shock, the disorientation, the sudden flood of empathy overwhelming minds that had been closed to it for generations. Some fought against it, trying to maintain their isolation. Others surrendered to the connection, overwhelmed by emotions they had forgotten how to process. It's working, Nixara whispered, her mental voice weak from the strain. But I can't maintain it much longer. Earth's forces, seeing the enemy's sudden vulnerability, pressed their advantage. Upgraded weapons targeted the now unshielded Voidborn ships, disabling rather than destroying them where possible. The ship's core pulsed one final time, sending out a wave of resonance so powerful that it overloaded the neural interface. Layla felt a searing pain in her head, then darkness. She woke to the gentle hum of medical equipment and the worried face of Admiral Morgan looking down at her. "Welcome back, Colonel," Morgan said. "You've been unconscious for 2 days." Layla tried to sit up, wincing at the pain that shot through her skull. "Nixara, the Voidborn? Your alien friend is recovering in the next room," Morgan assured her. "As for the Voidborn, well, that's complicated." She explained that after the resonance wave, the enemy fleet had fallen into disarray. Some ships had retreated immediately, jumping back to faster-than-light travel. Others had surrendered, their crews apparently in various states of psychological distress. A few had continued fighting until disabled or destroyed by Earth's forces. 3 months had passed since the Voidborn attack. Earth was slowly coming to terms with the reality of alien life and its place in a wider galactic community. The initial fear and suspicion were giving way to cautious curiosity, as more was learned about the Lissari and their culture. Layla stood on the observation deck of Earth's newly constructed orbital headquarters, watching stars glimmer against the black backdrop of space. Her recovery had been slow but steady. The neural link with Nixara had left traces in her mind, occasional flashes of memories not her own, dreams of twin suns and floating cities, an expanded awareness that human neurology had never evolved to handle. "Your brain scans are fascinating," Dr. Paula Rivera had told her during her final checkup. "Your neural pathways have been permanently altered. Not damaged, just reconfigured. You're the first documented case of human-alien neural symbiosis." Layla had chosen not to share that the connection went deeper than medical science could detect. Even now, with Nixara on the other side of the station attending diplomatic meetings, Layla could sense her presence like a warm glow at the edge of her consciousness. "Admiring the view?" Admiral Morgan asked, joining Layla at the viewport. "Seeing it differently these days," Layla admitted. "After experiencing space through the ship's senses, everything looks, I don't know, more alive." Morgan nodded, though she couldn't truly understand. "The Lysari delegation seems impressed with our progress. The Joint Defense Initiative is ahead of schedule." In the aftermath of the attack, Earth and the Lysari had begun a program to create a shared defensive network, combining human innovation with Lysari technology. It was just the first step in what promised to be a long relationship between the two species. "Their science team works well with ours," Layla agreed. "Once the initial language barriers were overcome." Morgan gave her a knowing look. "Speaking of relationships between species, you and Nixara have become quite the symbol. The human and alien who saved Earth together. Very romantic." Layla felt her cheeks warm. "It's not about publicity, Kate." "I know." Morgan's expression softened. "I've seen how you look at each other. Whatever exists between you two transcends our normal understanding. I don't pretend to get it, but I respect it." A comfortable silence fell between them as they watched a Lysari shuttle dock with the station, its organic design a stark contrast to the angular human vessels nearby. "Have you decided?" Morgan asked finally. "About the ambassador position?" The Lysari High Council had formally requested Layla serve as Earth's first ambassador to their homeworld. It was an unprecedented honor and a daunting responsibility. "I have," Layla said. "I'm accepting. Someone needs to build a bridge between our worlds, and I already have a foot in both." Morgan smiled. "I thought you might. You never were one. For the easy path." She handed Layla a small box. "A going-away present. Official Earth business, of course." Inside was a diplomatic credential unlike any issued before, a hybrid of human and Lysari design, bearing Earth's seal alongside symbols of the Lysari High Council. "First of its kind," Morgan said proudly. "The Council insisted on adding their markings, said it would ensure you were recognized across their territories." Layla touched the strange, slightly luminescent symbols etched alongside the familiar emblems of Earth. "Thank you." This means a lot. Just remember who you represent out there, Morgan said, her tone becoming official again. You'll be the face of humanity to an entire alien civilization. No pressure, Layla replied with a small smile. Later that evening, Layla met Nixara in the station's arboretum, a large chamber filled with plants from Earth, a small piece of the planet's biodiversity preserved in space. It had become their favorite meeting place, as Nixara was fascinated by Earth's flora. These are beautiful, Nixara said, gently touching the petal of a rose. So different from the plants of my world, yet serving the same purpose. She looked different today, dressed in formal Lysari attire for the diplomatic meetings, a flowing garment that seemed to shift colors with her movements, accentuating the tattoos that marked her skin. How did the council session go? Layla asked. Productive. Your leaders are finally beginning to understand the larger context of galactic politics. Nixara's expression became serious. The Voidborn situation has stabilized, but it revealed weaknesses in the existing security arrangements. Many worlds are now looking to form new alliances. And Earth's role in all this? Potentially significant. Your species has a unique perspective, resourceful, adaptable, creative in ways that surprise even the oldest civilizations. Nixara moved closer, taking Layla's hands in hers, which is why the ambassador position is so important. You will help shape how humanity enters the galactic community. Layla felt the weight of that responsibility, but also excitement at the possibilities. I accepted the position today. Nixara's face lit up with joy. Then it's official. You will come to my world. Unless you've changed your mind about wanting me there, Layla teased. Never. The word carried such certainty that Layla felt it resonate through their mental connection. My people are eager to meet the human who helped save us from the Voidborn. And she paused, searching for the right words. I find the prospect of showing you my home deeply satisfying. Layla smiled at Nixara's formal phrasing. Despite months of close contact with humans, the alien woman still sometimes struggled with expressing emotions in human terms. I'm looking forward to it too, Layla said simply. They walked together through the arboretum, discussing the preparations for their journey. The Lysari homeworld was several light years from Earth, a journey that would take months in conventional spacecraft. But Nixara's ship, with its advanced propulsion system, could make the trip in just under 3 weeks. There is something I've been meaning to ask you, Nixara said as they paused beside a small pond where water lilies floated. Something personal. Go ahead. The neural connection we shared during the battle, it changed both of us. You experienced my memories, my thoughts. I experienced yours. Nixara seemed uncharacteristically hesitant. In your memories, I saw how you felt about me, even 7 years ago. Why did you never speak of these feelings? Layla hadn't expected this question, though perhaps she should have. The neural link had left nothing hidden between them. At first, it didn't seem appropriate, she explained. You were a refugee, vulnerable and dependent on my help. Later, we were focused on getting you to safety. And then we parted ways. She shrugged. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. And now? Nixara asked, her violet eyes intent. Now I'm still figuring out what it means to feel this way about someone from another species, Layla admitted. There's no handbook for interspecies relationships. Perhaps we will write one, Nixara suggested with the slight tilt of her head that Layla had come to recognize as her version of a smile. The first of many cultural exchanges between our peoples. The light humor broke the tension, and they continued their walk, moving naturally closer to each other until their hands brushed and then clasped together. There will be challenges, Nixara said after a while. On my world, you will be the alien. There are those who fear outside influences, who believe species should develop in isolation. Like Secretary Blake here, Layla noted. Every world has its share of people resistant to change. Yes, but there are many more who are curious, who wish to learn and grow through contact with others. Nixara squeezed Layla's hand gently. And we have an advantage few others share: our mental connection. You understand my people in ways no other human could. The next 2 weeks were a whirlwind of preparations. Layla underwent extensive briefings on Lysari culture and politics. Though she found she already knew much of it through her connection with Nixara, she received medical treatments designed to help her adapt to the slightly different atmosphere and gravity of the Lysari homeworld. And she said her goodbyes to the few close friends she had on Earth. The day of departure arrived clear and bright. The Lysari ship waited in orbit, its organic form gleaming in the sunlight. A small ceremony was held in the launch bay, with speeches from Admiral Morgan and the Lysari senior diplomat. Today marks a new chapter in human history, Morgan said to the assembled crowd of military personnel and civilian officials. Colonel Hayes will be our first representative to the Lysari homeworld, opening diplomatic relations between our species. Her unique understanding of both cultures makes her ideal for this historic role. The Lysari diplomat spoke next, his words translated by a device similar to the one Nixara had given Layla years ago. We welcome this partnership with Earth. Though our worlds are distant in space, we find our spirits are kindred. Together we will face whatever challenges the universe presents. After the ceremony, Layla found a quiet moment with Admiral Morgan. Any last advice? Layla asked. Morgan considered the question seriously. Remember who you are, Hayes. Not just Earth's ambassador, not just Nixara's partner in whatever you two have going on. You're still Layla Hayes, the stubborn, principled officer who never could follow a rule if she thought it was wrong. Layla laughed. I'm not sure that's a diplomatic quality.